must be a lot of women who are frustrated like I was, who don't know that you can still lose weight and have fun and it.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I had a client who has just been in 1 week, and she was like, I can't believe I am eating a lot of food. I mean, variety, and I'm losing weight. But it's possible to lose weight and still have fun and still
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the journey and still eat your local food. Because I think a lot of times people are thinking that you're forced to eat foods that are exotic or have all these supplements. And
Mm-hmm.
the only supplement I take is a multivitamin right now because as an active woman, I like to take that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's where my journey really started after I had failed a number of times.
And how long was it from the time you were told, okay, you're obese, and then you hired the personal trainer, to the time you got this light bulb moment that, hey, you know what? There must be something more to this story.
It took me about a year to
A
figure
year.
out, from a personal trainer, to figure out what my issue was.
Hi, good evening, everybody. On this Sunday evening, it's a little cold and dreary out there, but we are very happy here to have Miss Bbira Kafumbe of Body by Bbira. She's a weight loss coach.
Yes.
Um, Miss Bbira hails from Uganda. That's her birthplace. And she is a software engineer. She's has an MBA. She's a project manager. She wears a lot of hats, and she's a weight loss coach also. She's
Yeah.
a mother of 3 beautiful children, ages 15, 12, and 7.
Right.
So I'm going to let Bbira tell us something about herself. Bbira, what don't we know about you? What is something that is someone wouldn't guess about you?
Okay. Well, that's an interesting intro, but thanks for having me, first of all. Again, I'm Bbira Kafumbe, weight loss coach by what most people know me by, Body by Bbira, but I'm also a mother of 3. Like you mentioned, I am as heavily in tech has been my main focus for the last few, 17 years maybe now. But what a lot of people don't know about me, there are 2 things. I come from a very big family. I'm Muslim, so I have about 35 cousins. So every event back home is a big deal, like minimum 300 people. So and also I grew up on, I mean, my dad is a big farmer, so I grew up a lot in farmland. And I mean, he had a whole farm, and we would go and dig and stuff, and I hate gardening. I think I did a lot of that growing up, but that
Mm,
is definitely, I think that those are probably 2 things people may not really know about me. I come from a very big family. My grandfather had like a number of wives, and yeah, it's always fun and happiness, but also my dad, who I love, is big on farming, so grew up
mm.
with a lot of that. Yeah.
I would never tell that you're
Yes.
someone who in Kenya we call it a jembe. In Swahili we
Yes.
call it
Oh
jembe.
my God. To a point that I didn't, when I came, I think from the time I stepped here, I'm like, okay, that was it. I'm done. I had enough of it growing up. Yeah. So
Okay. So Bbira, I just want to tell you that you're very popular,
oh
because I had the first time I heard about you was everybody's like, oh, Bbira, Bbira, Bbira. So I was like, who is this Bbira?
okay.
Yes, you are. So I just want you to take us through your journey. So can you tell us how you got to this point? So I know that you're born and raised in Uganda. So can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about the transition from Uganda to the US?
Yeah, so it's funny when you grow up and you're like you've always wanted to do something. I had an auntie of mine. We used to live in the same household, and she always wanted to go to the UK. I always wanted to go to the US. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but whenever I would look at the movies, the skyscrapers, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I belong to the US. And so I basically went to Uganda till high school, and then after high school, I went to University of Dar es Salaam. That's
Oh,
Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
which I went to South Africa because by then in Tanzania I did a bachelor's of computer science. I did some certifications in South Africa for about 2 years. And then I heard about this thing called DV lottery. Someone was like, "Oh, put in, you may
Oh.
get a green card." I'm like, "Okay, let's see."
Uh-huh.
And so
Uh-huh.
that is how interesting. I put it in. I was actually in South Africa, and mom is like, "There's a letter here from USCIS. It's been here for 3 months now. Should I open it?"
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know what they're telling me. By then it was mail, right? You put
Mm-hmm.
an in the mail. So there's something called DV lottery for some of you who don't know what that means. It's a way to come to the US via green card. And again, like I said, it's like a lottery. I don't know how they choose who comes because literally from the time they tell you you've won, it's just going to the embassy, doing the medical work, paying for the visa application, which was like maybe $300 then, and that was it. I started my journey to the US, just like that. So manifest. The universe is always hearing. It's just now that I
Mm-hmm.
realize that I just always felt like US would be home. Yeah.
Okay. So how was the transition? How easy or how difficult was the transition after you came?
I think every immigrant can write a book about their transition. So I think for me coming into the US, I just had high expectations, right? I just
Mm-hmm.
did a bachelor's in computer science. I had done 2 Microsoft certifications as a software developer in South Africa. So coming to the US, I'm like, I'm going to hit the ground running. I'm going to be making money, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota was my first state. So I remember I arrived around September 2004, around the time. But
Okay.
I get there and it's one of the coldest states for anyone who's been in Minnesota. So that was the first,
Mm-hmm.
like, by then I was in driving, of course. I had to stop at the bus stop. I was underdressed and I had a few, occasions of frostbite, but really I started immediately putting in my resume, for software engineering jobs, and no one was calling me back. And I'm like, guys, I have a bachelor's, I have certifications. And honestly, I mean, like I remember most interviews I would go, they'll be like, "Oh, what university? University of Dar es Salaam."
Mm-hmm.
And just seemed to call me back. That was frustrating. That was unexpected because I was just like, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna come hit the ground running. And so I had to think fast, like, okay, what am I going to do next? By then, I had no car. I'm taking the bus. Um, and so someone told me, like, hey, I think you need to do something affiliated, like join an institution here, do a certification here in the US that could be recognized. And that's when I said my master's in software engineering. It was an evening class, evening after work, but I wasn't working, so I had to find something real fast. And so my first job in the US was a cashier at Kohl's. Kohl's is a
Mm-hmm.
retail store, and I came close to the Christmas season, so I was able to get like the long shift, night shift hours. But that was also very humbling because in my head, I knew I was coming to hit this American dream within 2, 3 months. And so
Mm.
starting from where I started, and of course, no, any job, I'm not looking down at any job, but I'm just like, my mind was somewhere else. I was like, I'm gonna be in an office, AC suit, something, some skyscraper building, right? And so I had to, start life as a cashier, but going for my evening MBA, and then bought my first car at $800. Don't ask me how, but they were there by the time. And so I slowly started life. But I guess the culture, the weather, the culture shock, and adjusting also was really, part of the journey of the reality of like, okay, now I guess we have to survive, right? So
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you kind of had unrealistic expectations, right?
high expectations, yes,
Okay.
yes,
So I'm gonna come back to the unrealistic expectations when we start talking about what you do right now.
right.
So so when so what happened? Because now here you are, a software engineer. You have your bachelor's in computer science. You're going to school to get your master's, but now you're a weight loss coach. Like,
Right.
where do we make that connection? So what
So
happened?
Yeah, and thanks for asking that because, of course, when I came to the US, there was nothing I knew about weight. I grew up in Africa where weight was, I didn't really care. I didn't care much about what I ate. Like, exercise was not a thing. That whatever you ate, we grew up with, a lot of high carb foods. I didn't even know what, I didn't sit there to analyze carb protein. But shortly after I came to the US, I think maybe 2, 3 years after I came to the US, I got married. By then I finally landed an internship in one of the medical device companies as a software engineer. But then shortly after I got married, another phase of my life started. I had my first child in 2008 April,
Mm-hmm.
Layla, who is now 15. And I think that nothing prepares you for motherhood, right? While you're juggling school,
Yeah.
juggling work. And that was a whole new life. First of all, with my first pregnancy, I had a lot of cravings. So in my head, I was like, I'm eating for two, whatever, whatever I want flies, right? Um,
Yes.
and so I just, and chicken Alfredo at where is that? I'm looking at the restaurant. It's some Italian restaurant. That was my best chicken Alfredo pasta, and I would be craving that. And after I had my child, who was 7 pounds, I realized the rest of the 50 pounds was me.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when my mom came, because my mom came to help out with the baby. She finds me at the airport and she's like, "You look so dark," because I'm a lighter tone, but I was so pale and dark. But the reality of like motherhood and juggling everything had taken the life out of me, right? Even when I started pregnancy, because we were young couples trying to settle in. You're trying to figure so much out as an immigrant as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I found I lost me, right? It wasn't even about me anymore. When the kids started coming in, it was like in my head, it's like if the kids are happy, if spouse is happy, then I'll take care of myself later. And that is, I think, most of the mistake a lot of women make. And so my wake up call
Mm-hmm.
was 20. I had my son there after after the 50 pounds.
Okay.
2 years yet later, I think I took off like maybe 10 or 15, but 2 years later, I had my son. And that is when, after having my son, I was diagnosed as obese. And by
Okay.
then, I knew it. Like, I hated taking photos, I hated looking in the mirror. I just felt. I just felt myself slowly just close out. I can't even explain. I just wasn't confident in my body. And so when
Mm-hmm.
the doctor told me, that was October 2011,
Mm-hmm.
it told me I'm obese. I was like, okay, this is my wake up call. I'm not, because my option was to get on drugs because I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I'm like,
Mm.
I'm not going to do that. In my head, I was like, if I start on drugs, I'm not gonna, I mean, prescription meds, I'm
Yeah.
not
Mm-hmm.
gonna get off prescription meds. So I'm gonna do something about this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Wow. Wow. So you are obese. You
yeah,
had high blood pressure and diabetes, did you say?
no high
Or
blood
high
pressure,
cholesterol?
cholesterol. Yes,
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 high cholesterol. So you had what they call comorbidities, right? Like three of them, right? So
yeah,
then what happens? So then do you start exercising? Do you get
yeah.
on a diet? What do you do?
Of course, the first thing I did was hire a personal trainer, and
Oh,
he
okay.
was intense, right? By then, actually, he would put me on the treadmill. I'm walking at an elevation for like 20 minutes. I'm lifting all these weights. And then in about 2 months, I lost like 4 pounds.
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, this is not what I was thinking. This is not how I was thinking it's going to go. And right now, of course, as a weight loss coach, I know the gap there. I understand why it ended up that way. But I
Mm-hmm,
fired him. I'm like, you're not doing your job. I'm here every day working intensely, and I'm not losing weight, right? And so
mm-hmm,
for the first time, I started to really study all these stories of like all these people who are um, successful at weight loss. Of course, I was looking at, by then I'd tried everything. I've tried the slimming teas, the teas that go make you run. I've tried the waist trainers. I've
wait, they
tried
make you run? What do you mean? Like
run, like
run?
number two, like
Oh, oh, okay, okay.
not run.
Diuretic. Okay,
Bar
I'm like, what is
movement.
okay,
Yeah,
diuretics.
the
Okay.
little teas, which make
Yeah.
yeah, it's literally, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean. But bowel
Yes,
movement,
yes. No, I know, yeah.
very rapid bowel movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I had tried a lot of things and I was just getting frustrated. And so when I started to study a lot of people who lose weight, and I also tried some diets, it was the food. I was like, oh my God. Like, I remember when I first took time to understand the food, to understand why some food makes us bigger, why some foods are more filling than other foods. Um, Finally, I understood that even though the trainer was training me so hard, I would go home and just basically squander all that work with my food choice.
Mm, mm-hmm.
I love chapatis. I don't know if you know chapatis, but they are kind of
Yeah.
like, what should I say, naan bread or something very high
Yes.
carbs.
A
I
flatbread kind.
Yeah,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and we have like a ground peanut paste that we have back home with
Mm-hmm.
avocados and just that whole combination. Now, as a weight loss coach, I look at it and I'm like, wow, I was really wasting my time paying a trainer and not um, taking time on my plate. And of course, growing up in Africa, typically, I mean, our plates are like you have a little rice, yams, right? A little rice, cassava. You have like triple carbs and then a little bit of sauce, right? And that is
Mm-hmm.
how, for the most part, I was eating. So that I immediately that had to change, and I slowly started getting more interested in food and when I put that effort in and focus, I lost 40 pounds in 6 months. And I remember it started as a New Year resolution. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
like on my birthday, I put up a Facebook photo, like people hadn't seen me now. Everyone's like, oh my God, what did you do? What did you do? And then that's how it started. Everyone is like, what did you do? And then I started a whole Facebook group where I was just giving free advice. Do this. I would keep people like motivated. Send me your weigh-ins. And it's through my pain that when I got to victory, and I was like, there must be a lot of women who are frustrated like I was, who don't know that you can still lose weight and have fun and it
Mm-hmm.
well, actually, I had a client who has just been in 1 week and she was like, I can't believe I am eating a lot of food. I mean, variety, and I'm losing weight. But it's possible to lose weight and still have fun and still
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the journey and still eat your local food. Because I think a lot of times people are thinking that you're forced to eat foods that are exotic or have all these supplements. And
Mm-hmm.
the only supplement I take is a multivitamin right now because that as an active woman I like to take that. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's where my journey really started after I had failed a number of times.
A number of times. So, what would you say? How long was it from the time you were told, okay, you're obese, and then you hire the personal trainer, to the time you got this light bulb moment that, hey, you know what? There must be something more to this story.
Mhm.
How long did that take you?
It took me about a year to
A
figure
year.
out, from a personal trainer, to figure out what my issue was. Because then, even when I fired the personal trainer, I was still thinking, I'm going to do this by myself. I'll jump on the other
Mm-hmm.
diet. I'll try this. I'll Google up something new. And it was until it was a New Year resolution, honestly, for me, because I was like, I used that fire of a new year to be like, I want to do something different. And it wasn't like I'm telling the whole world. It was just more like it's between myself, and I'm gonna be
Mm-hmm.
very. And I think this is one of the biggest mistake I see a lot of people make with New Year resolutions. You're telling everyone, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. It's like I like to show versus say, right? It's like you
Mm-hmm.
have to start so small, right? Habits take 21 days to form, but at the same time they take 60 days, 30 to 60 days to drop. So if you have let me say, a lot of people maybe skip meals, or if you have some habits you're dealing with, it takes time. So you have to really be mindful and realistic with like, okay, I want to start with just this week, maybe taking, instead of 2 slices of bread, let me take cut back to one, or maybe let me fill in a snack of a yogurt or an apple, something more filling, and and
Mm-hmm.
and let me sleep earlier so that I don't have to eat those chips at midnight. It's you, and literally that's how I work with my clients. I'm like, let's see, let me listen to your day, tell me the habits. I mean, as they tell me the day, I'm like, okay, we're gonna switch this out, we're gonna create a meal plan, we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
put in new habits. But it takes time, and most people want, like, as Amazon shipping,
Microwave.
prime
Yeah.
next day. Yeah, so it took you
Yeah.
time to put on the weight. It's gonna take you time to take it off. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So, in other words, now we are coming back to the unrealistic expectations we talked about in the beginning. So you're pretty much saying that that is one of the things that leads to failure when we have unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
Can you speak to the idea of making too many changes at the same time? So, for example, let's say I eat a lot of junk, I don't drink water, I don't exercise, and then I decide this new year I'm gonna start drinking a lot of water, I'm gonna drop all the junk, and I'm gonna start exercising. How realistic do you think that is, and what is your um, suggestion?
Yeah, so actually when I'm working with the ladies, the first thing I tell them to forget about and not put pressure on is
Mm-hmm,
exercise. It's not like I don't like to exercise. I love exercise for my mental health. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have exercise. It's an outlet. But I first want
mm-hmm,
to know um what are your trigger foods? What are the foods that when you sit down and eat, you eat one pack and two and three, and we all have those. They're usually salty, crunchy, oily, and for me, I love chapatis, but I also love to, and most times we crunch on those foods because we're eating our emotions. And that was one thing I forgot to mention, because during my pregnancies and all this juggling, all that, I was basically eating my emotions. My food was where I was putting out my emotions. So one, the first
mm-hmm,
thing I asked, what are your trigger foods? A lot of people love wine in the evening. A lot of people love chips at late in the night. And so first, those are the things that would cut back. And I call them smart swaps. It's not like I cut back, I swap. We do smart swaps where I give you food that you can still get, feel like you're not deprived. And I think that's so key. When people are trying
mm-hmm,
to get everything out, you forget your human being. Immediately within 4 to 6 weeks, you'll be craving those things and go back to them overload. So the first thing I would say, what are the trigger foods and how do we swap them out, right?
mm-hmm,
Like I'll
mm-hmm.
give you an example. I loved sodas, but now
Okay.
there's ways to still get that fizzy, carbonated drinks. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
out there now that will give you less calories, but also you feel like, okay, I had my, little fizzy drink feeling. I
Mm-hmm.
can't explain, but that was my thing, right?
Yes.
Um, Number two is I ask what's your output for your emotions? Most times we're eating our emotions. So
Mm-hmm.
do you do things like meditate, maybe a walk in the park? Realize I didn't tell you burpees. I didn't tell you go run. How do you, for me, like small things like taking every Sunday after afternoon, I do like a candle, whatever, light music, just a bath, a soak bath in a
Mm-hmm.
bathtub. That seems to really calm me, right? Calm me
Mm-hmm.
down. What's your outlet of your emotions? Because if you don't have one, guess what? Your food is, and
Mm-hmm.
always. So that's another thing. So we start with the trigger foods, your habits, and then
Mm-hmm.
the other third thing that a lot of people really skip is sleep. It's like, how are you sleeping? Of
Mm-hmm.
course, that's just a general, right, overview.
Mm-hmm.
It's go deeper into like the meal plans and all of that. But most times, however much you're trying to do all these things, if you're not giving your body time to rest, you're wasting your time.
Mm. How important is sleep? Because I think that that's one thing that we tend to overlook because um, when you don't sleep enough, most people just have a cup of coffee and you're able to go back to work, you're able to take care of the kids, you're able to go for your meetings. And so
Mhm.
it's one thing that might be important. I want you to answer the question. So I'm not saying it is, but I'm
Yeah,
just saying how important is that? Because it's something that does not come to bite you immediately in your face. Like it doesn't show, you know? Yeah.
I would say we have stress hormones are called the cortisol, right? If your
Hmm.
cortisol hormones are high, and because now I've worked with so many women, and I see a lot of women when they come and their sleep is off, they will struggle the first few weeks. In that, I get to a point where we have a sleep schedule, and there's a lot of things you can take to calm down your nerves. Because some people it's anxiety, some people I usually say if you're a coffee person, stop taking coffee by about 2 p.m. You don't want because it's going
Mm.
to come to cost you in the evening, and either you're going to start taking melatonin, which is like a sleep agent, or something else to go to sleep, which you don't want to get addicted to stuff like that. But sleep is everything. Think about it. You don't see how you're reducing weight. It reduces in your sleep, right? You wake up in the morning, step on the scale, you're 1 pound lighter. It's
Hmm.
not happening. It's because your body is at rest. It's not happening when you're up and down. I mean, anxiety, stress, all these things. It's happening when your body is at rest. You're giving your time for your, stress hormones to relax. And that's where the changes are happening. It's overnight. And because we don't see it, we underestimate how powerful it is.
Mm-hmm.
So sleep is everything. It's right up there with food and habits.
Okay. So, you work with men? Do you work with men, or you just work with primarily women? Okay.
I work with women. I think it was only fair for me because I knew my journey as a mother. I know my
Okay.
journey as a woman. I know my journey as an African woman because, I mean, for the most part, I tend to attract African diaspora. Have I worked with women who are not African? Yes, I've worked with a few women of other, backgrounds, but I wanted to be realistic with, like, this is the journey. This is my story. I want to impact on I don't know how men science works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
am not going to I'm not I wasn't ready to speak to that or to be able to coach them because I know I've walked this journey, and I know that I'm confident I can help the woman get from her pain to her heaven. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a man. So yeah, that's for now, it's women for sure.
Oh, okay. Okay. So tell me, what is unique about your audience? So it's not just women, but it's mostly women of African descent in the diaspora, right? So
Yes.
tell me, what are the unique challenges that we have as women of African descent or women in diaspora?
So I'm gonna break them into three, right? We
Okay,
didn't
okay.
come up we didn't come out in a culture that exercises. So most people by default, they're not used to exercise. And so some women who come to me are point blank, I don't like to exercise. And you have to capture, you have to meet someone where they are, right? You have to
Mhm,
know their lifestyle and know that, hey, I think the biggest thing is people realizing that even though I don't exercise, I can lose weight, because a lot of women who come to me don't even have a gym membership, but
mhm,
they start to lose weight. And some of them, as they start to see the body transform, they want to turn it up and they're like, okay, now let me get to exercise. I have a lot of those that happen like that. And then number two, the diet industry, if you think about it, or the weight loss, is not we there's no market for us, right? Because we love our local foods, right? You join
okay.
this program, they're giving you all these exotic names, zucchini, right, whatever, or names you can't even pronounce. You're like, how long am I? You grew up eating sweet potato,
Mhm.
you grew up eating ugali, right?
And matoke.
Okay, right? Tell me,
Yes.
you're just going to wake up at 30 and start um zucchini noodles or whatever, right? It's
Mhm,
like,
mhm,
what's that? And so a lot of ladies that come to me enjoy their local foods and want to feel like, you don't want to feel like you're so restricted and deprived. And that is important. When a client, like I mentioned, the one who I just got off the call from, when she told me like, oh my God, it doesn't feel like I'm dieting. I'm like, yeah, now we're speaking the same language. Weight loss shouldn't feel like, oh my God, this thing. And a lot of the foods our local foods that we eat can still help you lose weight. It's just understanding how to balance it all out, right? So that's
mhm,
number one, was we have no market in the weight loss industry right now.
mhm, mhm,
Number two, most we didn't grow up working out or with that lifestyle, so most people don't. I mean, are not comfortable with that. And number three is when you join a program, it's one size fits all. You may love breakfast, I may hate breakfast. So when women come to me, it's like, especially the first, I have a power day where I'm just getting into, hey, Dolly, tell
mhm,
me about your day. You'll be like, hey, I usually don't eat breakfast because I'm rushing to work. So day starts at 11. I come back late, maybe 7. I'm starting to hear your day. And with that, I'm able to be like, okay, you're not a breakfast person. So this is what we're going to do to fill that up. Or we're good. You still have to be able to eat, and to lose weight, you have to eat. And you have to eat in a schedule, right? It's not like, oh, I don't feel like breakfast. Oh, maybe now let me have lunch. Oh, okay. But, there's an eating pattern to it. Like, and so after some time, your body gets used. But we are all different. It's hard to just say there's one size fits all. I've had
mhm,
nurses who have night shifts, and they may not necessarily be on the same plan as you who has maybe a 9 to 5. So it's also understanding that everyone is unique. And I think the value of just sitting out and listening to you and personalizing a meal plan for you, that is definitely the foundation. Like, when ladies get that, they're like, oh my God, that's like half the problem solved, because now it's just like everything is on paper. I just have to buy it and follow the schedule. And those are the three key areas that I find a lot of women that come to me find value in.
Nice. So, one thing that stuck out for me is that you do personalize. So it's not a one size fits all. And I think that's very important. You
Yes.
spoke about finding out what our trigger foods are,
Mhm.
getting what we do to as an outlet for our emotions. When you're upset, what do you do? And
Yeah.
then what is our sleep pattern? You say those are the three important things. Then you
Yes.
said that what is unique about Africans or people of African descent in the diaspora is that we naturally did not exercise. There's no market, there's no programs that are tailored to us, or even if it's a one size fit all, it's not tailored to us because of our um, ethnic foods and stuff. And then it's, there's a one size fits all kind of mentality out there. So
Right.
do you think that we kind of got our exercise because we walked, like for example, I can think about in Nairobi, when you
Hmm.
go to Nairobi and you're going to town, you
Yeah.
get off where the matatu, which matatu is like a minibus, where it
Yes.
gets you off, but then there's no car to walk to drive between supermarket and whatever, so you kind of
Mhm.
end up walking up and down doing all your business, and then at the end of the day you go back and get into the minibus and go back home. Do
Yeah.
you think that is one thing that also lacks over here, that maybe contributes to some of the weight gain, not all of it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything, even to go to the ATM, you have a drive-through now, right? Which, I mean, everything you're seated in your car basically, and most times people are multitasking. You're watching TV, you're eating, and that subconscious kind of eating,
Mm-hmm.
even as simple as something as simple as sitting down, it will make a difference eating while you're standing versus sitting down, because your mind, for it to trigger that you're full, there's a communication between your tummy and mind, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if you're just like eating while watching TV and then you're grabbing more, just grabbing something here, but it's hard for you to, you know, to actually sit down and say, oh, actually I'm full. Most times you sometimes when you're about to get full, you'll be like, maybe I'm still hungry. But when you give yourself like 10 to 15 minutes, you're like, actually I'm not, I don't think I need to get up again, right? But most times if you're subconscious, that won't even click for you. The life, yeah, we definitely back home, there's bicycles, there's matatus. Things have changed now because now I feel like we've
Uber.
become more westernized, and even I see a lot of childhood obesity, which is really, that's a whole other topic I deal with, because I feel like also as parents, sometimes it's out of our hands, but sometimes we also have a hand in where our trajectory is with the kids. Like, all these fast food places are the in things be eating at, and
Yes.
end of the day, kids waistlines, and I mean, a kid at 10 is already obese. Like, what are you setting them up for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I grew up, not, I mean, it's in my adulthood some of these things started surfacing, but you can imagine a kid growing up like that, right? It's even
Mm-hmm.
way more risky. So yes,
Yes.
the definitely the difference is that we're a lot in the cars, we're a lot on the screens, right? You're always at
Yes.
work seated down. Some people have become more innovative, getting, those stability balls. I have a standing desk actually right here, so at
Mm-hmm.
times I'm actually typing away but standing. But also getting moments where you're like, it's eating time, TV off, phone off. How many of us are eating while swiping? Like, how is your mind supposed to register you're full, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so most times you end up overeating just because you're not present with what we're
Yeah.
trying to multitask all the time.
Mindless eating, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, Bira, so tell me, I want you to take me through, but no, but before we do that, what is the connection between mental health,
Mm,
body image, and weight loss?
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're so interconnected, because I listen to a lot of ladies who are struggling with weight when they come on the calls. The first thing I hear 9 out of 10 times, I hate the way I look in the mirror. I hate the way my clothes fit. So you can imagine when that's the messaging you're giving yourself, how negative thoughts can just, like, oh, that's all you see, that's all you feel. That definitely messes with how you feel about yourself, right? Low
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem. That can actually take a toll on how you show up. So
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that is, we're getting into mental health, right?
Yes.
Depending on how bad it gets when you get on medication, because I have a lot of ladies I talk to, and they're on medication and they feel stuck. They can't quite get off the medication, but they don't even know what to do to, to get their life back. So you're kind of a prisoner in your own body. So even
Yes.
just the thought of that, it's very interrelated, because your body image communicates how you show up,
Mm-hmm.
communicates kind of the actions you take. Because if you're feeling down, you're not going to be like, let me have something healthy. You're like, well, I'm already here anyway. Why should I?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So you're going to be like, just give me that bag of fries. There's nothing like when sometimes when you're feeling under the weather, when you're depressed, or when you're just like, it's the bad comfort food that you crave. You're not going to feel like, let me eat something that fuels my body. But for me, I think when I lost the weight, when I lost the 40 pounds, honestly, I felt
Mm-hmm.
like there was emotional baggage that had just been taken off. All of a sudden, I was alive. I was light. I was confident. I was enjoying life, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so they're so interrelated, because a lot of us don't realize that this weight is emotions we're carrying.
Yes.
But it's like putting in tons of bricks on your back, and then after some time you just can't stand upright anymore. So as you start to lose the weight, you just see people glowing, you just see people show up so differently, in confident in their bodies. So it is very much interrelated. It's really like it's full circle. I mean, one
Mm-hmm.
part feeds into the other, right? So yeah.
Yes. 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 And we usually talk about using food as our drug of choice,
Yes.
right? Because
Yes.
for some people, when they're feeling down, they're feeling depressed, they go maybe smoke a cigarette,
Yeah.
um, drink a drink, they go
Mm,
to alcohol, some go to
yes.
drugs, and for
Yes.
most people, they go to food. And the deceiving part about food is that it doesn't intoxicate you, so it's not like you're gonna get a DUI because you overate, right? It's
Yes.
a drug of choice that by the time you realize the consequences or the repercussions, it's a little bit not too late, but it's already taken its, a full, you know, it's already blossomed. Let me put it that way, because with alcohol and drugs, everybody can see you're drunk on the spot. If, if,
Mhm.
a, if a police officer stops you and you're drunk, the consequences are kind of immediate. But with food as a drug of choice, the consequences are not felt
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
So, Bbira, I want you to take me through the process of being coached by Bbira. So, I'm
Mhm.
a client, I've signed up. What
Mhm.
happens?
So, the first thing I do, I call it a power day, but it's usually about 2 to 4 hours.
Okay.
So I want to first listen to your day, basically. I want to learn your habits. So I'll just say, hey, Dolly, take me through your day. And then you say, hey, I wake up at 6 a.m. Most times I'm hungry, maybe I skip a meal. And then by noon, I eat something, but in the evening, depending. So I listen to you. And so as I
Mhm.
listen to you, I'm like, okay, she's not consistent with her meals. She sleeps late in the night. I'm picking your habits, but I'm
Mhm.
also seeing areas where there's no structure. There's
Mhm.
different things I pick up as I talk to the ladies for Power Day. And so the first thing I do is create a meal plan together. Of course, I
Mhm.
want to know what are the things that you're allergic to. I want to know, are you a morning person? Are you a snack person? Do you love, to sleep late at night? Some people are reading for the night and they have to be up or whatever. Nurses, like I mentioned. So we get all that together. That's Power Day, right? Then there I find like most ladies are like, okay, now I feel a little bit more comfortable, because of course, as you come working with me, a lot of ladies are also been frustrated. They've lost hope. They think weight is not loss is not for them. But once we start to put all these things together, some ladies are like, you mean I can eat? I mean, can they eat this food? Not like I'm putting for you, uh, uh, what should I say, junk food, but uh, they are surprised by how many times you're able to eat, right? Or the options I'm giving them, that it's like, okay, I can eat real local foods, right?
Mhm.
And so the next thing is I have a portal. I call it the VIP portal. So each week, it's 12 weeks. My program is 12 weeks. And why it's 12 weeks again? Because habits take time to pick and drop. That is half of our program. We're doing habits, food, And so you get each week there's a portal. I mean, there's a topic we go through. Now you
Mm-hmm.
have a meal plan you'll be following. So there are different things I'm telling you to do each week, right? And then I'll give you an example. I may tell you, hey, next week I want to see the photos of your fridge, and that's a true
Mm-hmm.
story. Because I'm keeping you accountable. How can you be saying you're on a weight loss program when you don't even when you have junk? And yeah, some
Mm-hmm.
people have put disclaimers that the butter is for my son. That's all. I get it. But for most part, I can look at your fridge and be like, okay, you're on track. Most times it starts in the grocery store, right? So your
Mm-hmm.
pantry, your spaces should indicate that. So I keep you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing, every Friday you step on the scale, send me your way in. So I put checks and balances as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
And so so I give you 8 weeks because each week I'm asking you to eat differently. But I'm also asking you, hey, Dali, after 8 weeks, I want you to be able to tell me, Bira, I enjoyed week 2 and 5. Because guess what? The things that I did on my weight loss journey, I still do today. But I
Okay.
picked the things I enjoyed. One,
Mm-hmm.
I hated water. Now I put lemons in water, right?
Okay.
I find ways to make it palatable and fun because I knew my problem was water. I knew
Yes.
how to make water. So I'm like, okay, how can we make water fun? Boil ginger, put in lemon, do all this. I mean, and all these are things that we talk through in the program. There's so many things, I mean, that people struggle with. I'm just giving water as an example. But
Mm-hmm.
also at the end of each week, because I love to cook, I give you a
Okay.
recipe. And these women find the ladies I work with find the recipes so valuable because guess what? I'm
Oh,
giving you tools you're going to use for life.
yes.
Just about, hey, you came, I told you to eat like this, I told you to eat like it's like when Bira is here or not, I keep saying, unless I mean, I would not want to see you again here, right? My
Mm-hmm.
my job as a coach is to make sure you keep the weight off. A lot of you, when you come to me, I mean, I'm not saying you, but when a
Yes.
potential client comes to me, she wants to
Mm-hmm.
lose weight. But for me, when I know my job is done, when you keep it off, and when I notice that you've taken these habits, right, like how to cook, you're changing your habits. You walk away with almost 30 recipes by the 12
Oh,
by end of
wow.
weeks. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and so these are things that just hearing ladies tell me, oh my God, I didn't even know how to cook. Now my son knows how to cook. Spouses have lost weight. Have had a lot of husbands lose weight because the women man the kitchen, right? And
Yes.
so those are the things that I'm like, okay, these are lifelong skills you're going to have and you're passing on to your children. I had a client where the daughter was struggling with obesity, but when the mom started cooking these things, and that's why I'm saying that us as mothers, we have quite a vital role to play
Mm-hmm.
because our kids are watching us. So I mean, I know sometimes it's sensitive for us to talk to our children about obesity, but you cannot give up. It's like you're giving up. I mean, if you give up, then who is going to take them out of that,
Yes.
cycle? And
Mm-hmm.
so, yeah, so by the 8 week mark, I'm asking you which areas, and I keep it simple, right? I give you 3 areas that you liked, right? And then once you list those three, the last 4 weeks, now it's you telling me, hey, Bira, this I liked week 3, week 4, week 7. Just give me an example. This is how I'm going to eat the rest of the 4 weeks. So now I'm preparing you for the real world so that by the end of the program, you're not like, because a lot of times as a coach, I see a lot of scenarios where someone has ended the program, but they don't want to go. They're scared. They're like, what will I do without you?
Okay. Yeah.
And so I want you to get to that point of like, I'm good. I'll be fine. I know enough to now do it by myself. You shouldn't be coming to I mean, of course if you came back, I mean, life happens. I mean, most times the scenarios I've had ladies come back, they were pregnant, they added weight. That's very understandable. They wanted accountability. Or some people just love the circle because we have a social circle, which I didn't talk about, a Facebook group. And that
Okay.
is so, I've seen beautiful things happen. People form friendships. Women are encouraging themselves. I had two nursing mothers at some time who are comparing notes. Oh my God, your kid, my baby is 5 months, 7 months. Can you imagine 5, 7 months? They mothers in the class, and then so what I'm trying to also demystify that baby, as long as your doctor is giving you the clear, you can start losing the baby weight pretty soon. I've had a lady at 5 months where she was, up and running, and within 6 weeks she had lost her weight. So yeah, so the community is also really key. And some people want to just, because the more you hear it, the more you live it. Some people
Yes.
just want to stay there. So I have something called a retention program, whereby when you're done with the 12 weeks and you just want to keep hearing it, and now they have become the experts, they can, try and advise the new ladies that come in, uh,
Yes.
so that you can also access that and just be remain part of the community.
Okay. Wow, that looks like a comprehensive, well thought out program, right?
Yeah.
So, I'd like you to tell us about, you've talked about your program. So why is your program not a diet? Because most of the time, when people want to lose weight, they think about diets, the South Beach diet, the honey, like, I mean, there's the
Yeah.
watermelon diet, like there's so many other diets. Why is your program not a diet?
So tell me, when you think about the word diet, what words come to you? What do you feel when you hear the word diet?
Deprivation is one of the things yes.
Okay. What else?
Extremism sometimes, like the watermelon diet, you
Okay.
know? Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So if my program was a diet, it would devalue what I'm about, because um I have been able to, it's been 10 years since I lost the weight. I've been
Mm-hmm,
able to keep it up because I love food, right?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so for me, diet already, I'm like, sounds restrictive. It sounds
Yes,
painful. It sounds hard. And
yes.
there's something I call in my program, I call the triple E blueprint. It has to be easy, it has to be
Okay.
enjoyable for it to be effective.
Oh, okay.
If you start,
Easy, enjoyable, and effective.
yes, I call it the triple E blueprint. And that's when
Oh,
say them ladies at the 8 week mark, I give them an option to stick to the things they like. That's what
mm-hmm,
I'm giving them as a guidance. Which of the things to you were easy? Which of the things were enjoyable? And
mm-hmm.
that's why a lot of ladies will be like, oh, I love the recipes that I can keep doing. Or I loved, there's so many things, right? We're sharing in the program. And so because if it's effective and plus enjoyable and easy, it will be sustainable as a lifestyle.
Yes. Nice, nice.
So most times people, when they jump on the program, they're not thinking about, hey, after 6 weeks, what happens? After 12 weeks, what happens? Because you're most people are so focused on losing this weight. So if Dolly, you came to my program, I'm like, hey, Dolly, you're going to lose 10 pounds in 10 days. But guess what? After that 10 days, I can't guarantee you may add the weight again. Would you?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what most of the diet programs are. It's like promising you fast turnaround results. But guess what? Because you're not really sitting down to change your habits, you're not really sitting down to understand the structure in your meal plan, depending on if you're a morning person, if you're whatever it is, right? You're
Yes.
going to be back. And that's why the weight loss industry is a multi-millionaire, industry, because
Mm-hmm.
you're in, you're out, you're in, you're back, you're in, you're
Repeat
out.
customers, huh?
Yes, we repeat customers, right?
Yeah,
And I know
yeah.
sometimes life happens, but honestly, even me, with times I've had adversities in my life where I didn't think about food. I mean, I was saying 2018, my mom got diagnosed with cancer, and the last thing
Sorry
my
about
mind
that.
was how to eat, when to eat. I was like, I'm surviving. But guess what? I was like, I know what to do. There was never a
Mm,
time I was like, and that is what I want my clients to walk away with, to know that whatever scenario they're in, they know what to do. And
mhm,
back on track, and to trust that, everything will
mhm,
be back on track. And so even even the awareness you get, it's not like you're going to fall off and just completely go off. It's like life can happen sometimes, right? Sometimes people
mhm,
fall sick, sometimes there's a lot. People go through breakups. There's a lot, right? But just knowing that you will be back, and and having that confidence that all will be well, because you have the foundation right, is priceless.
mhm. So
Yeah.
Bira, so one thing that I've had you talk about a lot is consistent eating. Like you have to eat at prescribed times and consistently, which
Yes.
is unlike what we think of when we want to lose weight. When we think about losing weight, our body, I mean, our minds naturally take us to maybe I should eat less, maybe I should eat once a day. But you're saying that what you found to be successful is consistent eating,
Right.
because that, I guess it's because it's you can manage that, and it's you can the word has now escaped me. Oh my goodness.
So
Um, you can
I'll answer.
sustain it, sorry,
Okay.
over a long
Yes,
period of time.
I'll answer that in two parts. So, in order for you to lose weight, you need to turn your body into a fat burning machine. So, when you're
Hmm.
eating little by little, you're actually forcing the body to burn, right? A lot of times, let me say I skip breakfast. Someone is like, I skip breakfast, thinking that, oh, okay, you're losing weight. But by two, you're so hungry that you've eaten breakfast plus lunch, right? You know,
Yes.
it's like you're thinking you're skipping meals to save yourself from adding weight, but you're actually negating your efforts because it's very rare unless you're doing intermittent fasting and you have windows where that's all understandable, where you have windows where you eat, where windows you don't. But if you're intentionally just skipping a meal to lose weight,
Hmm.
most times it will get to a point of like maybe 2 3 p.m. I'm so hungry, and the first thing you do is like eat like no man's business, right?
Hmm. Yes, that's
So
true.
instead of chunking it out, like eating, you can eat still in small portions. Because even before this live, I had like a light sandwich. I wasn't too hungry before I had it, but again, I didn't want to wait till I was too hungry, and that is how you know that now your body has started to change, because you will start to feel hungry, but it's not like, oh my god, I'm dying, I want to eat a cow kind of hungry.
Yes, 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 yes.
So that is important because you want to keep your body burning. What is it
Hmm.
going to burn if there's nothing you're putting in? So that is the key with weight loss, is that you have to actually eat, but eat the right food, of course, to get your body metabolism going. And most
Hmm.
people think skipping the weight the meal is actually helping them, but you're getting your body in starvation mode, which is holding on to the fat. So yeah, so there's different
Hmm.
ways to eat for weight loss, but skipping meals is not really the
Not
way
one of them.
to go.
Okay. So, Bira, what about ladies who have other things going on, diabetes, high blood
Mhm.
pressure?
Yeah.
Um, can they join your program?
Oh yeah, I've had ladies reverse that, right? I've had one lady who reversed her pre-diabetes, another lady who reversed her diabetes. I
Mm-hmm.
think the key is, I want to say this because I talk to a lot of ladies who are on prescription medication.
Mm-hmm.
The job of the doctor is to put you on medication.
Yes.
The doctor is not going to help you with weight loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
The best the doctor can do is to put you on the scale when you come next time, and they're like, okay, yeah, you're in a good range. They're not going to follow up on what are your habits, what's your meal plan, did you sleep good, did you eat late last night, why are you taking wine every evening? That is, and so the industry here, that the pharmaceutical industry, they're always going to be, I mean, that's a $1 billion industry. All they're going to
Yes.
do, order what, when your prescription is finished, they just
Auto
order.
refill. Mm-hmm.
And so I find a lot of ladies come to me, 3 years, you're on medication. What do you think that's doing to your body?
Mm-hmm.
5 years, you're on medication. And what, I've had extreme scenarios where, because they've been on medication for diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol for too long,
Mm-hmm.
now it's leading to kidney dialysis,
Yes,
damaging
that's
other
true.
organs. And so no one is going to tell you that stuff. And that's why you have to be your own advocate. Your doctor tells you, I'm putting you on medication, like, okay, let me try it. It takes about 6 weeks to turn around this stuff if you're really diligent. Of course, depending on how much weight you have. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
really diligent, within 1 week you'll lose the weight. But I'm saying, like, to turn around, the ladies I've seen reverse diabetes, pre-diabetes, and reverse all this high blood pressure and high cholesterol, it's it just takes building habits and a lifestyle. And if you look at it as simple as, no one was born knowing what we know. We had to go to school to learn these things. Go to jobs where day one you had no idea what you were doing, but you figured it
Mm-hmm.
out. Why not figure it out for your life? Because I've been on the other side caring for a loved one. So I say
Mm-hmm.
this, either way you're going to pay, because the hospital bills and the other side of the world is not fun, right? You're
Yes.
mental health is at stake, your financial health is at stake. Um, and honestly, it's like your emotions. So it's everything is at stake. So why not invest about 6 to 8 weeks, or at most maybe 3 months for sure, of doing
Mhm.
right. um so either way, you're going to pay. You pay now with making being disciplined and making the right choices, or you pay later in hospital bills, or
Mhm. Mhm.
distress. So because a lot of people have this whole theory of like eating healthy is expensive, and no one has told you to go
Mhm.
to an organic market or
Oh,
organic
Whole
this.
Foods. Yes. Yes.
I never even go to Whole Foods. I mean, once in a while, yes, I may pass by, but it's not like there are farmers markets here in the summer that have stuff that's way, you know, way cheaper. I mean, you don't have to be stressed about all these Whole Foods moms. We have all these organic places right here. But I think people overcomplicate it sometimes because they don't have the right guidance or the right information.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so it doesn't have to be expensive to eat healthy. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to. Yeah.
Mhm. So, Bira, how important is, as we wind down, how important is planning? Because there's that saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? How
Yeah.
important is planning when it comes to making the lifestyle changes that will make weight loss, and not just focusing on weight loss, but having a healthy body and healthy self-image sustainable? How important is planning?
Yeah, planning is everything. Like you said, uh you fail to plan, you plan. I mean, you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? I did
Mm-hmm.
think about it. Like if you're going for an interview, you would sit, rehearse, you go through all these things because you want to show up right. In especially here in the diaspora, where our lives are so fast paced, right? So you wake
Mm-hmm.
up in the morning, you have no plan of like, and that's why these meal plans are so valuable when I do the power day with my clients, because you wake up in the morning, you're like, what do I feel like eating? You go open the fridge. That's if even you have time to open the fridge, right? Most time
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're running, you dropped off the kids or whatever is happening in your life, and you're like, okay, I'm hungry. Maybe I get a juice, right? Then at 10, you're like, maybe a bagel. Okay. And then 2, I was in meetings, I was so busy. Then 4 p.m. Oh my god, I'm so hungry. And then you're now eating whatever you find, right? You haven't planned your day. You haven't planned uh because if you haven't even planned, meaning you didn't even go to the grocery store to buy the right food. So it's just
Mm-hmm.
like whatever you find at work. There's always all these snacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are always on the table. There's always this leftover food. How are you going to lose weight? Because as actually I did a webinar about 3 weeks ago, and I was sharing on the webinar, for most women, to maintain a good weight, it's between you have to eat between 1,200 to 1,500 calories, of course, give or take height and other factors.
Okay.
So woke up in the morning, you took a Starbucks. They have it's a lot of syrup, maybe a macchiato, that's about 300 calories. You ate a bagel with that, that's another 200 calories, 500, right? You haven't had a snack,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
you haven't had dinner, and in between maybe you're taking juice with your lunch. That's another 200 maybe calories of juice. So in drinks alone, you could end up at a good 700 to 800 calories before you even eat, right? And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it's mindless, because it's not planned, before you know it, it's like, I'm not losing weight, I'm struggling, I'm doing everything right. Because I get a lot of ladies who are like, I think I'm doing everything right, and I'm always like, run me through your day. And when they start,
Mm-hmm.
like, I can see where you're self-sabotaging. And unless
Mm-hmm.
that, it's always going to be like Starbucks in the morning. And I'm not saying Starbucks, don't go Starbucks, but there's a lot of other healthier options. But I'm just saying there's some things
Yes.
where you're taking energy drinks, you're taking a Starbucks, you're taking all this stuff that's you're never gonna hit your weight loss goals, because before even you start the food, which we haven't even got into snacks, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
can derail you, you are over 1,000 in calories. And guess
Yeah.
what? These are empty calories, meaning these are foods that don't sit in your stomach for long. So you
Mm-hmm.
had your bagel at maybe 8, by 10, you'll be hungry.
Yeah.
You'll be looking for the next thing to munch on. And so it's learning, it's like looking at it like a bank. What food am I putting in my body that's gonna give you the biggest bang for my back? right?
Mm, okay.
That's
That's a
there.
good way to look at it. Mm-hmm.
Most times a good 3 4 hours you're not feeling hungry. That's when you know the food is right for you. I'm not saying that all the feeling foods, all the non-feeling foods, like most times by about a couple hours, right, you're feeling hungry again. But what when you're eating food, it's not like just about, of course there are days where I can splurge if I want a cake. Ice cream is my thing if I want ice cream, right? But knowing as you're eating food, you're either feeding disease
Mm-hmm.
or removing disease.
Preventing. That's a good way to think about it. Am I feeding disease or preventing disease?
Yes, it's a
Mm,
reality. That's why a lot of there's a lot of pharmaceutical companies making money on prescription medication because we're
yeah,
every day.
yeah.
And so, and no one wants, everyone is so busy with their lives. And so, because that's the biggest thing I hear, is I have no time. And I'm like, but you have time to eat, right? As long as you have time to eat, you have time to lose weight. Simple.
That's a good way. Oh, okay. As long as you have time to eat, you have time to lose weight. Okay, that's a good one too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and whether that one I think is gonna stick with me. Am I feeding disease or preventing disease? Right?
Yeah. You don't
Yeah.
have to be running marathons. You don't have to be doing, I mean, if you want to do that, of course, do that, right? I mean, I'm all about, for me, like I said, the working out is mental. It has helped me so much. When I ask a lot of ladies, what's your emotional outlet? That is mine.
Mm-hmm.
I, that working out is my emotional outlet. But do not sit and tell me you don't have time. That's an excuse.
Ooh, okay. So, hey, you know that if you go to Bira, you're not gonna make excuses. She's not gonna take excuses.
Oh, I
She's
take
gonna
this
crack her whip.
very seriously, honestly, because I mean, this is life, right? It's like you're investing in a legacy here. It's not just about you. You have kids, you have spouses who have lost weight. So why? It's first of all, of course, I value my time, but also I want you to get results. If you have
Mm-hmm,
invested in me, I want you to get results. And so that is paramount. That's the first thing that I'm looking at. And
mm-hmm,
so if you're going to come and waste my time, then you're not the right fit, because most times, even when I do these assessment calls, I'm trying to listen. Like, are you someone who commits? Are you someone who is really ready to do the work? Because a lot of people want to lose the weight, but they're not ready to do the work. And when I say ready to do the work, it's not
mm-hmm,
like I'm telling you to jump up and down or push ups, but the work is the discipline on your plate.
mm. Okay. Wow. So, Bira, if I want to get in touch with you, could you please tell our audience how can they get in touch with you? Where can they find you
Sure.
so that
So
in order to consult with you?
yeah, so I do have, there are two ways, right?
Okay.
One is my website, Body by Beer. I was
Mm-hmm,
typing it here. I don't know if people will be able to get it, but bodybybeer.com. And that
mm-hmm,
is two B's for beer. So body by BBIRA.com. And then
mm-hmm.
is
Yes, it's there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
the other one is sorry, I was just trying to make sure it's in the right place because it says private chat. The other one is
no,
www.callbeer.
oh, I saw it, but you know what? I don't know if it was for everyone. No, but I did see it.
Yeah, so Body by Bira is BODY by Bira is two B's, BBIRA. So it's one word,
Mhm,
bodybybira.com. Then if you want to, I usually also take what I call weight loss assessment calls. Really,
mhm,
this purpose of this calls is three things. One, to understand where you're stuck, for you to get clarity. And if I feel
mhm,
like you're fit with the ladies I typically work with, I invite you to um what I mean to potentially work with me and what that is about. And
mhm,
if that's something that you'd want to really spend some time figuring out why you're stuck, because most times when I'm listening to you, I'll tell you where you're stuck, and
mhm,
be able to let you know, call out where blinds are. Because one,
mhm,
I've been there. Two, I've worked with so many ladies now that you get to a point where this is my purpose, and I know exactly how a lot of us ladies put ourselves last, right? It's like you're
mhm,
investing in everyone, your spouse, your child, the time you're giving them, and you can't even give yourself maybe 20 minutes a week, right, to just invest time in your body, right? But so
Mm-hmm.
my assessment calls, I call them weight loss assessment calls. It's called www.callbira, like
Yes, I
call,
saw that. Callbira. Yeah,
yeah,
callbira.com. Okay.
call, but double BIRA, so C double BIRA.com. And
Okay.
yeah, so hope to see
And
you
you're
next.
also on Facebook, right?
I'm on Facebook. I mean,
Okay.
Facebook was like my first, social media encounter. That was
Yeah.
2020 when I decided
Yeah.
to change from putting pretty photos of family to like, okay, let me talk about what I love to do. Um,
Okay.
and then I'm on LinkedIn and
Mm-hmm.
Instagram as well. But I would say Facebook and LinkedIn are where I'm active most.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, Bira, I want to thank you so, so much
sure.
for for spending your Sunday afternoon with us.
Thank you for.
Your story is admirable. You know, you've been able to um, um, lose weight and
Mhm.
eat healthy and focus on your health. And you've sustained it for 10 years. That's a long time. So I don't see it changing anytime soon. And what I
Thank.
like about your program is that you are a student, you're your own student. So it's not
Yep.
like something that somebody told you somewhere and then you decided to do it. It's something that you experienced. You came up with a way that worked for you. You
Mhm.
did your research, and now you're helping other women work on themselves. I want to
Right.
thank you so much, Bira, for being with us.
Sure.
And to our audience, thank you for joining us. And we hope that you'll be working with Body by Bira and come and show off your new selves, you know?
Yes, yes. I'm waiting for you on the other side. It's very doable. It's very weight loss is it can be enjoyable, but of course, a lot of what the diets have portrayed has made people lose hope and get frustrated and lose motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're ready to do the work, then give me a call. You'll find me on the other side, right?
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Bira. And we're going to end our live. Okay. Let me
Okay.
end.
Yep.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.